Hello everyone, welcome back to yet another political episode. So today we got some good ballot measures coming out, and it's in pretty good favors for the right, more of conservatives on that side of the spectrum. And I'll go over that in a little bit, but we got a list of ballot measures to go over. Starting off with Initiative 434. It was a part of a cluster of ballot measures. You'll see Nebraska has 2 abortion ballot measures. The first one was actually in good results. This measure would amend the state constitution to not allow the procedure in the second or third trimester, except in cases of medical emergency or for pregnancies resulting from incest or sexual assault. And that's what really people are really hesitating when it comes to the issue of abortion. Sure, there's always going to be the people that will say, oh, well, I don't want people to tell me what to do with my body, blah, 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 blah. But a lot of people are going to say, well, what about in cases of incest or rape? Well, a lot of conservatives seem to be very compromisable with that. I believe we need to figure out medically, how can we save the woman's life and deliver a baby at the same time? Because really, we shouldn't have to choose which one has to die and which one has to live. Life is precious, and we are not we're not pro woman, we're not pro baby, we're pro life. That is what we stand for. And when it comes to this, of course, I support the ballot measure. 54.9%. It's a 9-point win. And obviously, it was preventing a very radical measure that a lot of the pro-abortion phase, because all these pro-abortion people, they want unlimited access to abortion, even at 9 months. And that's crazy. It absolutely is crazy. They don't see the human life inside the womb, and they think they just look at me and you as just clumped up piece of cells. These are the people that say they care about people. Well, this is how they value us. They think of us as clumped up pieces of cells. And once we're out of the womb, ta-da, we suddenly have value. And that's not how it works. Because some time you have value. And people who believe in life will say, oh, value begins at the moment of conception in the womb. And that's really what the puzzle is. When does life begin? And when is, of course, abortion okay? And I'm saying, no, it shouldn't be okay. When is slavery okay? When is slavery okay? And really, it was a hard concept for people back then to think, oh, well, how is slaves people? And that was a very hard, difficult concept. We know it was hard because there was no moral conscience. Because, yes, you see the brutality in slavery. But back then, even moderates that had slaves, they didn't see nothing wrong with it. They have been brainwashed by society back then to think it was okay. It was their custom. But now we've been brainwashed to think abortion's okay. And we need to say, you know what? We need to wake up. And yes, outlining this ballot measure saying, hey, look, we are prohibiting abortions in cases of medical emergency or pregnancies in the third term. And this obviously got tons of support. And if you add this in, I think the results are going to be more wider and more closer when it comes to more compatible when it comes to the said abortion, because a lot of people say vote for the abortion because they are afraid that in cases of rape and incest that they're not going to get the medical care. Of course they're going to get the medical care. In most cases, they'll still get their abortion. But they got to understand that women and victims are not the only players in this. Women are not the only victims. I mean, not only the only major players in this issue, it's also religious people. And I made it pretty clear in the last video that we Republicans need to really push the message that this is about religious liberty. religious liberty must be a priority, and they need to campaign on that. Stop saying abortion's murder. Like I said, it's a talking point. They don't care if it's murder, even though if it's true, they care less. And it's just turning more people off. Now you got to go and say, hey, we need to fight for religious liberty, because religious people cannot, of course, pay these silly abortion for these silly abortions when they're morally against it. That's oppression. That's oppression by the government. So that's what Republicans and conservative Christians need to do. So I've been talking a lot. You'll see I've been going on for 5 minutes about this. But it's big because this is the very first ballot measure we ran into that it's actually the pro-life actually won the popular vote. We know Florida was the case also, but Florida 58% supported the ballot measure, but it didn't pass because you need at least 60% in order for it to go through. This ballot measure got the support of mainly Boyd County and then the rural countryside, 83% in support of the ballot measure. No surprise here. Douglas County is against this ballot measure. I'm surprised it's not going to 60%. And that's why. You know why? Because the main concern about the abortion is that is that rape and incest. Are you going to have access to the procedure if you got rape? Were raped or your life is in danger. And that's ultimately what that toned down the anxiety here and ultimately led to the ballot measure passing by over 9 points. And you'll see same deal with Lancaster County, 55%. But yes, this is the first measure. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next ballot measure. So this is require paid sick leave. This measure would give eligible employees at small companies the ability to accrue and use 40 hours of paid sick time per year. Workers at larger companies would get 56 hours per year. And here we got a bit of a pattern here. Now, this is a non-controversial ballot measure, really. It's, of course, has to do mainly with work, right? So you're seeing more in urban areas like Douglas County, 80% supported this. Lancaster County, 78%. And you got only 4 counties saying no, and that's Cuyahoga County, along with McPherson County, along with Arthur, and of course Hays County. And really, why these people are voting against it could be because of the low turnout. That is a very big possibility, and that's possibly what the reason is, because paid, of course, 40 hours of paid sick time a year. I guess that's more beneficiary. I don't see how taxpayers are paying for that. But of course, people are staying home, right? People are staying home more because you got 40 hours of paid sick time to take off. So that would be 2 days of paid sick time. And of course, more people are in support of this, or actually 4 days. I don't know what that when it comes to that 5. But anyway, so yeah, this was a big beneficiary to basically workers. You got Cass County and the suburbs. You got Sarpy County, 79%. So that's that. Legalize medical marijuana. This one passed pretty easily, and we knew it would. So this measure would allow for the use of possession up to 5 ounces of cannabis by patients and their caregivers for medical purposes. So medical marijuana, I'm guessing is it already legal in Nebraska? I don't know. Obviously, this measure was in support of this measure was obviously 71% outgoing in this ballot measure. Most Americans overwhelmingly support cannabis legalization, especially if it's medical, if you will. Yeah, you'll see 71% in support. And even with 71% of Nebraska supporting this ballot measure, you still have counties that are voting against it. And it's over 10 counties, really. The county that supported, obviously, Douglas County and Big Omaha. A lot of people, that's more people there, the more people that will often use cannabis. And, of course, marijuana possession. The counties that voted against, that is Hayes County, right here, 63%. And, of course, I'm speaking out, you know what? If you want to smoke marijuana, go ahead. But for me, well, this is recreational. No, this is medical. So if medical marijuana, I don't know what my real position is on medical marijuana. Some people are against it because, of course, is medical marijuana really safe? What are the effects of medical marijuana? And I'll tell you, I would never want to be put on medical marijuana. I have mentioned it before, but I don't like no drug. I don't like no alcohol. I don't drink. I don't do any of that. I have a huge no fear when it comes to that. So I probably say no. I do anesthetics, but anesthetics, even that is hard for me. So yeah, I don't know what, and of course I support, if you need medical marijuana to save your life, go ahead. But I'm thinking there's other ways. There has to be other ways. We don't even know if medical marijuana is safe, and that's probably what the 29% of people that are coming out and saying, hey, you know what, we're not so sure about that. We're not so sure about this medical marijuana thing. So going to a step, okay, yes, and this is the next, of course, ballot measure, right here. This is establish a medical cannabis commission. You'll see here. Then again, kind of correlating with the previous results. So this measure would create a government board to regulate medical cannabis for patients in Nebraska. Now, this goes with when Nebraska legalizes marijuana and cannabis for medical marijuana and medical purposes. I think this would be a good idea. I don't know why people would vote no to this. I mean, yes, create a government board. Then again, who's paying for that government board? Via taxpayers, right? And I can understand why, okay, I don't even support marijuana cannabis. Why am I paying for a marijuana cannabis board? Why is the government forcing me to do that? And I can understand why a lot of counties are voting no because of that. No, we don't even want marijuana, even medical marijuana in the first place. We don't even know medical marijuana is safe. So the county here that supports, of course, this ballot measure is Douglas. It's 77% in. Hayes County, once again, takes the title. 67% against the ballot measure here. So, nothing really to go over. So, obviously, 67% when it comes to the creating this commission. Some people a lot of people supported the ballot measure, previous ballot measure, legalizing medical marijuana, but they backed out suddenly saying, okay, I don't really think my tax dollars should go to a commission. But then again, it is controversial. All right, this is, I want to say, the real abortion ballot measure. So this one is removing the idea on that there will be exceptions to rape, incest, and ways to save a woman's life, right? So this ballot measure here, it's actually more compatible. You'll see very close results. You'll see just like the other one, but the only difference, Sarpy County has joined the server at 54% in support to the abortion ballot measure. But it failed. It failed. Amazing. If you guys are unaware, there has been, like, for instance, Nebraska is so ironic because there has been previous measures, like the previous measure in Kansas. The Kansas ballot measure, where Kansans voted against the, of course, Born Alive bill, I want to believe what it's called, in 2022 is the very first abortion ballot measure ever. Well, very first abortion ballot measure since Roe v. Wade was overturned, may I add. And that one passed overwhelmingly, 58%. So you're like, okay, why is Kansas out of the sudden? And then again, Kansas, it proved itself to be a libertarian state. What about Nebraska, you may be wondering? Nebraska is also pretty libertarian. Heck, I mean, they legalized marijuana there. They are a gun-owning state. But then again, there's a lot of born-again evangelical Christians in Nebraska. Then again, you'll see more suburban Nebraska near the Omaha area. You'll see Sarpy County, no surprise, very suburban county over there. You'll even see Thurston County. That's a county that's tossed up by former Native American. But there's Dakota County. I think it's the only county I've been to in Nebraska. I've been to Nebraska. I've been in and out, and that was Dakota. But 53%, it was a former Democrat stronghold. I want to believe, I don't know if Romney, I thought Romney carried, no, I thought Romney lost Thurston. He carried every county except for Thurston. But you get what I'm saying. In the areas, let's just say it, look at abortion on the ballot, Ballotpedia. And you guys can track your states because, believe it or not, before Roe v. Wade and even before the 21st century, there were ballot measures on abortions. From Roe v. Wade, the ruling of Roe v. Wade back in 1973 to the present day. And I was mainly looking at the North Dakota one because it's kind of ironic. North Dakota went all out and rejected a recent ballot measure. Not recent, I believe it was 10 years ago. They had a ballot measure. It was the right to life at humans at any stage of development amendment. And of course, that was struck down 64.13%. And I'm like, okay, then I wonder what Nebraska is going to be like. Ultimately, 10 years proved to be a huge difference, even in the essence of overturning Roe v. Wade. And then I guess wording does matter. Wording and how you say it does matter because then again, the right to abortion, 54%. It doesn't look like the first one, right? Prohibit abortion past first trimester. You see, even Sarpy County was the county that actually voted for life and for choice in the said two of the abortion ballot measures. Let's see here. Douglas is the one that supported it the most, 62 this time. The county that voted it against, that's McPherson. Wherever that county is, McPherson. I thought it was over here. McPherson County. 241 votes to 38 votes. So it was a very tight race. There's no one really living in Nebraska's 3rd congressional district. That's why it's so big. It takes most of the state. But yeah, does make sense. But, okay. All right, our last ballot measure, referendum on private education scholarships. This one was approved. I thought it was struck down, but it was approved. You'll see. Interestingly enough, it was mainly supported by liberal. Actually, I wouldn't say liberal counties. Just have Omaha County not going into it. It's decisive. But this referendum will decide whether to retain or repeal Section 1 of Legislative Bill 1402, which provides for $10 million a year to fund education scholarships for qualifying students at private elementary and secondary schools. A repeal vote would eliminate the funding. So funding basically providing $10 million a year. So once again, it looks like most Nebraskans are fine with their tax dollars going to private education scholarships. Then again, private education, when it comes to that, I would say it's going away from, I'm guessing this is college, seen as a scholarship or something like that. And when it's private, you tend not to have all the woke garbage. But despite that, you have this measure passing at mass, thanks to areas like Omaha and Lancaster County, even some counties in the countryside like Thomas, Hooker. Let's see. It's actually a vote of repeal or retain. So green is repeal. Orange is retain. So green or blue, whatever you want to call it. Hooker County voted to repeal. It's at 69%. They were leading the charge with 263 votes to 118 votes. Now lot the support mostly from Dakota County, 54%. I'm not sure how I would vote on this. A lot of these ballot measures, some of them you can notice have supportive party when it comes to that. And you can go ahead and take a look on how your senator or your congressman endorses and kind of trust his gut. But then again, it really relies on you, the voter, and what you think about the issue. Do you want to retain or do you want to repeal? It's not a hardline party. What does my party think about this? It's really about you. What do you think the answer should be? So ultimately, we went through a big long list of Nebraska ballot measures: marijuana, abortion, education, and paid sick leave. So what do you guys think in regards to our video? Let me know down below, and as always, I will see you all in the next political episode.